Is that actually working this time? Is it working this time? Okay. Are you working? Is it actually happening? Oh, there we go. Fucking A. I've been talking for like 15 minutes and no one's been watching because apparently I screwed up what I was streaming on. Oh, god damn it. Okay. So, hello everybody. Welcome to Get Used to a Problem. The show where a computer defeats me regularly and you guys get to watch me fail. So, all right. Hey, how about this? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. There we go. Oh my gosh. Man. All right. I answered like 20 questions and no one was watching because it wasn't actually streaming or something. I was apparently streaming in episode 36 and not 37. Okay, so Nick Callis, Super Chats. What percent of AMC YouTube monkeys know what they're talking about versus those who just throw poop at walls hoping something sticks? I think a lot of them know what they're talking about. Just in general, the amount of knowledge in how markets work across the board has skyrocketed in the last 8 months. I mean, there are people who weren't trading in December who have the equivalent of a PhD in finance at this point. The learning is nonstop. I do think that some of the price action stuff, not price action, the technical analysis is a little hard to follow because these stocks are manipulated so much and so much of the trading is being done in the dark pools, where if the trading was out in the lit market, we would see a lot more we'd see a lot more correlation between the technical analysis and what's actually happening. So that's my one beef with all technical analysis folks is that it's really hard to gauge where this is going and making predictions when so much is down the dark pools and it's just straight manipulation. So okay, so let's go back and I'll try to answer all the questions that I already answered. Let's see here. Justin Smith asked, "What happened to MetaMachill today?" Started out huge, yeah. It almost hit $6 today, and then got shorted right back down to where it began, where it ended on Friday. What is it, about $4.30 right now? $4.30. 442. So it's still slightly green over Friday's close. But I mean, everything had a big arc today. Yeah, so we're still sitting. It's still, everything's still a giant squeeze potential. We've got until the 9th for all these futures contracts to lock in or roll over. So I think we'll still see a lot of price action on this stuff as we go into the week and into next week. Talks about banning the payment for order flow. Yeah, I just saw a tweet about the SEC saying they might ban payment for order flow, and they should also just ban dark pools in general. They should get rid of them, and maybe you can have some sort of system where large corporations can apply for specific instances to do large purchases of other companies. But I think everything should go through the market. If one company wants to buy another, they want to buy 100 million of those shares, they should have to do it right through the exchange so that everyone can see it and the price can reflect the demand that's being given. And that's, I believe if you're gonna have a market, you need to actually have a market. And yes, gas prices will be hiking because all the offshore oil rigs off of Texas, Louisiana, all shut down from the hurricanes. So gas prices always go up when they have hurricanes go through there, and gas prices always go up before a holiday weekend because everyone's going to drive somewhere to go camping or whatever. So they always use that as an excuse. I don't see gas prices dropping anytime soon without the economy collapsing, or without finding some sort of deal with Venezuela and Iran and get them back into the oil market without the sanctions, because the OPEC and others just aren't producing at the rate that they know they can, and so they're keeping prices where they are artificially. Okay, let's see here. What do we got in the chat zone? Oh, and Josh Walker had asked why Zircon crystal is so stable. Answering this in the other stupid video I was accidentally streaming on. It's not that the Zircon crystals are stable for such a long time compared to others. It's that the Zircon crystals we found happen to be in some of the oldest rocks. So these are tiny. They are like little grains of sand, and they are itty bitty, and they're found in some of the craton, like the proto-continents that all the other continents are built upon. And I think the oldest one's in Australia, and they're like 3.5 billion years old. They just happen to not have been covered with other lava or remelted, and that's why they're so old. Okay. Okay. You're gonna get lots of intros, man. All right. What causes a hurricane? Hamfingers ask. Warm water. Warm water, it creates a hurricane. So hurricanes are created by heat and moisture. And if you've got an excellent heat source, like, tropical Atlantic, you are going to create some powerful storms. Remember, the sun comes over, shines on everything fairly directly in the northern hemisphere between the equator and Tropic of Cancer. And that causes air to rise. And if that air rises really quickly, you can get thunderheads. And if that air rises really quickly, a whole bunch of air has to come in and replace it. And so you get this local convection cycle that will be happening. And it starts to churn and churn and churn and draw more air, and more air rises and more air rushes in, and more air rises and more air rushes in. And as it's doing that, it starts to basically generate its own power across this water source. And the whole reason you get like a spiral in a hurricane is, all right, Google Earth time. Got to go to the Google Earth. Got to click on the doink. Go to the Google Earth. There we go. Oh, we're still stuck on that pond. Okay. Go away, pond. Okay, so I'm going to zoom all the way out. We are leaving Earth. We're looking at it as a ball, right? And so this ball rotates. And as it rotates, oops, I'm not doing a very good job keeping it north here. Grab that equator, rotate. We're rotating. Okay, so you got to think about the angular momentum. So if you're at the equator, you're rotating at basically 1,000 miles an hour. The Earth is approximately 24,000 miles around. It takes 24 hours for it to rotate. Thus, you are doing 1,000 miles an hour as you rotate. Now, at the top and the bottom, at the poles, you're rotating at 0 miles an hour. If you're at the North and South Pole, you're just spinning in place, right? And you aren't going anywhere. If between the equator and the poles, it gets your angular momentum, your angular velocity is slower and slower and slower the further north and the further south you go. So if you were an air mass, and you're an air mass that is, you're an air mass that's rushing in from the continent, right? And where you're rotating up here might be 700 miles an hour. And where the air mass is rotating here might be 900 miles an hour. What eventually happens is there's a Coriolis force. So your angular momentum carries with you as you're being pulled into this storm system, right? And so this low pressure. So the air is getting pulled in, and it's wanting to go this way at 700 miles an hour, but it's hitting an air mass that's going 900 miles an hour. And so as it does so, it sort of like bends into it. And the air that's being pulled from the south might be going 1,000 miles an hour, being pulled in, and it's actually getting pulled in and dragged into this air mass that's going slower. So you end up getting this rotational vortex that happens. And the Coriolis force is pretty cool. The big guns from World War I, like the biggest munitions that were ever built. And we're talking these guns you can put in a whole bunch of gunpowder in a shell and you could shoot them like 70 or 100 miles. They actually had to calculate the Coriolis force into them. So if you were like, on the front line in France and you wanted to fire into Germany 100 miles or something, you'd actually have to calculate. You'd fire out, and you have to calculate the Earth rotating underneath your bullet until your shell before you actually hit your object. And so they would have to like lead the Earth and be like, okay, I want to hit this thing, so I got to aim over there because by the time my bullet lands, the Earth will have rotated and I can hit my object. So same thing happens with storm systems, that Coriolis force. Or Coriolis effect, I should say. It's not actually a force, it's an effect. So there's a little rabbit hole of storms for you. All right, Big Houston. Okay. Two planes, one stream. All right, there we go. Okay. Let's get the chats here. Oh, the other day, you were saying GME floor is 10 million. What do you think about that? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the floor or if it's going to be in the pyramid zone of the peak. I think the peak for GameStop is going to be unimaginable. There'll be prices that are absolutely silly and will be talked about in textbooks for 1,000 years. So, I think people will definitely get $10 million a share and more for their GameStop. Will everyone? No. When prices get that silly and that high, the people are going to go, they're going to say fuck it, and they're going to sell, because if you've got 100 shares at $10 million, how rich are you, right? Just doesn't take much to do the math on that one to go, oh, I'm a billionaire now. Right. So when people see that they can join that 3 comma club, they're going to join that 3 comma club. And I got dragged a lot on Reddit this weekend because someone posted my exit strategy of climbing the ladder. And they're like, oh, he's paper handing, not realizing people don't understand how exponential growth works. And that's one of the problems we have with like COVID, is that people don't understand exponential growth. So if I start selling a share at 100,000, sell 50% more for each share, by the time I'm at 7 shares, I'm making over $1 million a share. By the time I'm at 14 shares, I'm making $20 million a share, right? So you climb that ladder and you can guarantee that you're going to hit the peak along there. And when you hit the peak, the prices that will be absolutely stupid. But if you sit and wait for the peak, you may miss it. You may not have had the chance to sell at the peak. So that's why I'm going to climb the ladder. And exponential growth doesn't take long. I mean, if I'm at 14 shares making $20 million a share, according to my exit plan, I still have a whole bunch of shares left that can be in the infinity pool. Now, if the infinity pool that people are talking about ends up being less than the float, then the shorts, I wouldn't say the shorts are covered, then the synthetics will have been replaced before people can make their infinity money. So that's the big thing. Like you can't count on the infinity pool because it becomes this prisoner's dilemma, right? People, when they've got a chance to make millions upon millions upon millions or billions of dollars, they're going to take it. They are. I mean, tempted. I look at my I take my phone, I look at my accountant sometimes in the day. I'm like, holy shit, sell everything, because there's that urge, like, oh my gosh, this is more money than I've had ever in my account. But I have to talk to myself, like, no, this is not what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for much more than this. But there will become a time when people are going to look at their account and what the value is and what the market is trading for, and they're just going to go, oh, fuck it, sell. Because I now never have to worry about money ever again. And That's a very human condition. You have to look at the like psychology of humans and know that that people aren't going to hold out for the infinity pool to get to infinity. They're going to sell when they can guarantee that they're going to be super comfortable and I don't know, sleep in supermodels for the rest of their life or something. Daniel J. Houston, is today your birthday? It is not my birthday today. 364 days of the year. It is not my birthday. Nick Callis says I'm wrong about hurricanes. They're caused by bunnies farting. Oh, chaos theory. You know, a little fart here, a little armpit squeeze there, and there it goes. Pithy New Zealand's. What's your outlook on metamaterial? YOLO today and now 21% down. Oof. Well, I think it's still going to go up. I think metamaterial still has a long ways to climb. There's still ways for it to go. There's still a whole bunch of Torch shares that were sold naked years ago that have not been resolved. And they thought Torchlight was going to go out of existence. It was an oil company that couldn't make money. Oil prices were super depressed. They shorted it into oblivion to the point where it was almost delisted from the NASDAQ. So it got down to 21 cents. And then Metamaterial came along and was like, hey, can we have your NASDAQ listing? And Metamaterial was like, save us. And so they merged. And I don't think the shorts were counting on Metamaterial using Torchlight as a SPAC to get listed in the US. And that kind of ruined their entire plans. They had to short this thing, to the OTC, into bankruptcy, and then never have to pay back those shares. And so here we are now with them going, shit, what are we going to do now? And their solution is, well, let's short attack it again. And so when they saw the price action go up, they just started short attacking again. And that's what they do over and over and over and over. Yeah. God damn it. So now the internet is slowing up again. You son of a... Apparently I can only stream at like 2 o'clock in the morning to have competent upload bandwidth. I'd hate that yellow air that pops up. It just steams my hide. Okay. Tristan Cates, Houston Wade, have you read about having to file a 13F to SEC when we sell our shares for an exorbitant amount? Does it apply to Canadians? It's a 13H that you have to file, not 13F. 13F is for like institutions. It's a 13H, I believe, and that's if you make more than $20 million off of a trade. So you have to make $20 million off of a trade in order to file the 13H. And I would talk to it. Hire an accountant. When the money gets to that level, get yourself a badass accountant and let them do their thing. That's what they're there for, and it's a drop in the bucket to have them do their job for you. Yeah. Ham Fingers, do you think they can kick the can as far as next year? If the debt crisis doesn't cause the Dow to drop and the S&P 500 to drop, then yes, I think they can kick the can down the road. If the debt crisis hits hard and we start to see, as of September 1st, a whole bunch of evictions and foreclosure notices going out, then I think the economy is going to be in for a rude awakening. And that rude awakening will mean margin calls, and margin calls will not result in liquidity meeting that margin, and then they won't be able to kick it down the road. So these next couple of weeks are very, very important for whether the hedge funds these short hedge funds can make it last until December or January. Remember, we've got the debt ceiling crisis, we've got the crisis of evictions and foreclosures. We've got a corporate debt crisis. We've got COVID. We've got a commercial real estate crisis. We have a whole bunch of negative supply chain crisis. We've got a lot of negatives. Inflation, that's another one, that are working against the economy right now, and the entire economy is like being kept afloat with, I don't know, unicorn farts or something, because there is no reason the economy should, the market should be looking as green as it has been with this much like flaming dog shit on the porch that just needs to get stomped out. Only BLSP Black Death. I can't understand the tactic to short metamaterial again. Can you explain? They don't want to buy back shares when they're expensive, so they just will generate new ones and short it some more. It's their one. It's the only way hedge funds make money is by shorting this stuff. that's their entire MO. So they will short it again to drive the price back down, and hope that they can swap those FTDs out a month from now. And that's what they do. They do it again and again and again and again. Yeah, so there we are. B. Gelzer. Hey, Houston, what are a couple of concrete pieces of evidence I can show people to convince other people that shorts haven't covered? The Get It Got stuff is great, but anything else? Awesome show. Go. Okay. So the fact that shorts haven't covered is that these hedge funds are still in the red. Like, they've shown no growth whatsoever. Melvin is down 40 to 50% on the year, and they have not bounced back at all. If they had bounced back, that meant they would have closed back in January and February, and they would have been doing other things to grow their fund. But they're not seeing any growth. They lost all their billionaires a whole bunch of money, and that's where they are. They might be shorting more and getting more cash, but that cash is still actually a liability at this point because they have to buy back those shares. They can't really record that as growth until they close out positions. So those are the big things. The other big things are that you can look at the top traded stocks, Fidelity lists the top traded stocks every day, top 30. And every day you can see the buy-sell ratio for GME and AMC and others, and see that folks are just buying and not selling. And they've been buying and not selling for 8 months. And the fact that they haven't sold means the shorts haven't covered. And the shorts have not covered at all because no one sold them their shares. And you can look at Fintel and Finra and those folks, and you can see that institutional investment in things like GameStop is greater than the float, right? So, we got 300% the float owned by institutions alone. That doesn't make any sense. That means that there's so many synthetic shares out there. That doesn't even count what retail owns, and retail owns way more than institutions do. So those are some of the things you can point people to and show them that this is a big giant house of cards that's going to get blown down, and we just got to wait for those margin calls to blow everything down. That's the big bad wolf at this point. Okay. Juicebox, what's your thoughts on JP Morgan $900 billion penalty? I have not seen that. Let's go. Okay, let's go there. Let's take off the Google Earth. Let's turn on. Oh yeah, I forgot to assign the Chrome every single time. Okay. Let's go to. Gosh dang it. Sorry, one sec. This thing does not want to. How come Google Chrome isn't popping up? You dick. Okay, let me open up another one of these things then. 1 second. Technology is defeating me yet again. Okay, let's try this again. OBS Streamlabs. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, now Chrome's not showing up at all. Wait, is that what I want? Which one's that? Are you? Where are you? Why aren't you showing up? Sorry, my Chrome isn't working. My Chrome isn't working. What the snoot? I can get my live streaming. We can make ourselves go into repeat here. Okay, this one will pop up. So let's look at $900 billion penalty for JP Morgan. So I have not, this popped up and I did not see. Oh, 920 million. No, that's last year. Never mind. That's not billion. 120 million. News, anything popping up? 7 hours ago. Oh, here we go. You continue to drive global. Nope. No penalties there. Sitting on uninvested cash. Ah, okay. So, just JP Morgan is sitting on $900 billion that's been uninvested. Okay. Interesting. Not a penalty. They're just sitting on a whole bunch of cash. All right. Good to know. If you see something else about a penalty, well, let me know, and I will check that out. Yeah. Hawaii looks like my office. I leave for Hawaii on Wednesday. I'm not there yet. I will hopefully have, I don't know, excellent 5G somewhere on a beach, and I can stream for you guys there. And you can just listen to the wind whip around through my computer's microphone. Cancel Bubble. Hey Houston, I saw Interstellar over the weekend. Have you seen it? What was the good science in the movie? What was the bad science in the movie? The good science in the movie, the only good science in the movie, was the image of the black hole. And no, the tidal wave was pretty good science. The repeating tidal wave that goes around the planet nonstop, that was good science. Everything else, not so much. Not so much good science there. I think I talked to one of my previous streams about it, so you'll have to go back and find me ragging on how time dilation works and how they got it wrong in Interstellar. Is this Hon de Jesus? Houston, if metamaterial squeezes this month, do you think it will squeeze again when the preferred dividends are distributed by December? Very possibly. So, what we have is we've got a CUSIP change, and so everything's supposed to be recalled when there's a CUSIP change. But for some reason, there was a whole bunch of stocks still trading despite the fact that there was a CUSIP change. The Torchlight was still trading. Torchlight futures were still being honored. Our contracts were being honored. Weird stuff was happening. And so we saw those weird things happening. And then the T35 arrived and nothing happened. So what I think may happen is we may get a baby squeeze of sorts with metamaterial, and the price action may rocket like it did for Spurt recently, like it did for Newegg back in June. And I know that on the Meta subreddit that they are like calling for $1,000 a share and stuff like that. I have no idea if we'll ever get there. I mean, if we get to $1,000 a share on metamaterial, I'll be in like a smoking jacket and looking like Hugh Hefner or something. But I have no idea if we'll get that high. I mean, if it gets into the $70 range, which is where Newegg went, then I'm totally cool. It still means I have a lot more money I can spend on GameStop after that. But will it squeeze again when the dividends? I mean, the dividends might be so big that if there's any of those naked shares left, they're going to be out a lot of money. If it's $20 a share and there's still 100 million shares out there, that's billions that they have to pay out of pocket. So we might see it pop again as a result. So yeah. Yeah, Arrival's a very good science fiction film. Ham fingers. I like brainy alien invasion films as well as stupid ones that explode like crazy. Was the volume for metamaterial good today? I think it was at like 70 million or something. Metamaterial volume 82 million on the day, and you have to assume that 60% of all trades were dark pools, so probably 180 million would be the volume on the day, which would be insane. Yeah. Okay, and I just saw Get Real's text to me saying, "You're idiot. You're on the wrong stream." Thank you, Get Real. Deck P, what GME surprises do you think we will see September 8th and 9th? Well, the 8th is the earnings call, and oh man, I'm hoping they announce a crypto dividend for the 8th. That would be just delicious. And the 9th is the last day that the futures contract folks can line everything up and either exercise or roll over their holdings. So, well, those are the two big things I think we should see for the 8th and 9th. I assume the earnings call is after close on the 8th and not during the day. That would be terrible. So I assume it's after close on the 8th, and then the 9th we should see everybody pull their hair out. The 9th, remember, hedge funds will short like crazy on days that earnings calls happen. Doesn't matter if it's good news or bad news, they will short. So if the news is bad, they say, oh, the stock went down because of all this bad news. And if it's good news, they want to short it down to keep the price action from skyrocketing. So I say definitely expect them to try and short attack like crazy on the 9th. But if that week things are so hairy with the debt ceiling and evictions and COVID and everything else, they might not have that ability to short because they'll be so underwater on all their positions that they might be facing margin calls. Jeff Roberts, he says, is there anything you don't know everything about? I am absolutely garbage when it comes to birding. My old roommate is like one of the top birders in the entire world, and I just don't give a shit about birds. I always drive them up the wall. I have what I call the Houston birding system, where there's only 6 species of birds. There's chickens, not chickens, crows, not crows, seagulls, not seagulls, and that's it. Everything falls into those 6 categories, and it drives him up the wall. He's like, well, what about an American bald eagle? And I was like, that's not a crow, baby. It's actually basically a creagle. It's a seagull and a crow that had a baby. It just, it makes him so mad. But yeah, I don't know anything about birding. Okay. Hoshi Gaming, why are my HYG puts for December 17th at 0 and my HYG puts for September 17th at 166% profit? What the F? Shouldn't the December ones be up too? Does it have to do with the Greeks? Yes, it has to do with the Greeks, because those calculations have to do with when the expiration date is versus growth one way or the other, and if what are the chances are that they'll be met in that time period. I would say that if you've got $40 puts for September 17th and they're up 166%, might be time to rocket them, because the last time the economy tanked, HYG still never dropped to $40. Making good money off of it. And the closer we get to September 17th, the lower the swing in price will be as we get there. So playing with fire on those ones. Although the economy might crash before then. If it does, you might still make a killing off of them. We'll see. Okay. Jersey. Oh, man. Fajalkowski? Will you make a Telegram group? Probably not. I get asked to make a Discord server and things, and I don't have time, man. I come running in here to make my show and then have to jet out really quickly most times. Yeah, I get invited on Discord servers all the time, and I try to join them, and I just don't have time to even talk with anybody on there. I can only do so much social media, and my brain just can't do all of them. Basically, I can sit on Twitter a good part of the day, and I can grade papers and then argue with someone, and grade papers and argue with someone. But if I had to grade papers and argue with 50 people on a bunch of different services, it just won't work. So yeah, I probably won't make a Telegram group or a Discord server unless this channel manages to take off and get a bajillion subscribers, and then I can afford a producer and I can make them do all that stuff. Until then, it's just me sucking at my technology. Okay. Only BLSP Black Death super chats. I need your scientific expertise. My PhD concept is repercussion of the course of the First and Second World War through aerial photographs. My prof says not worth a historical dissertation. I disagree. Your 2 cents. Well. That's aerial photography really changed the game in World War I. I know that for sure. We saw battlefields in ways we never saw before, and troop movements and all sorts of stuff. So like building reconnaissance planes were super important. That's the entire reason why after World War II we built things like the U-2 and SR-71. So the baby steps were in that piece. I'm sure your thesis advisor, he just doesn't care, and that's why he says it's not worth a historical dissertation. And he's like, I don't want to read that. That's probably his entire thing. You might want to find a different mentor, someone who will be stoked to hear about that. And you are allowed to change mentors in a graduate program. You can be like, I don't want to work with this person, and then find a new one to work with. That's totally in your purview. Sometimes it means having to change programs entirely, like switch from one school to another. I think PhDs should be done in your passion, and if that's what you're passionate about, then do it. And if people can get PhDs on the goofiest things in pop culture, you can do a PhD dissertation on aerial photography in World War I and World War II. It's we had hot air balloons going up there and try and take pictures of battlefields prior to airplanes doing it. So it's been a tactical advantage to have air superiority at all times, and part of the air superiority is taking photographs. And the whole reason we've got satellites today were because we saw how useful airplanes taking pictures of battlefields were. So yeah, do your thing. I say go for it. Your prof, it's just an area he doesn't care about. It'd be like if someone came to me and was like, hey, I want to do a PhD in birds, and I'd be like, I don't care. Do your thing. I'm not going to read it. So yeah, I think it's an excellent PhD thesis, and I'm surprised somebody hasn't already done stuff at it, like at the War College or something. But give it a whirl. You have my blessing. Okay. Oop. Darb. If you had $8.917 calls, would you let them ride to the bitter end? I do have a couple of $8.917 calls that I plan on letting them ride to the end. I'm hoping that I see metamaterial go above $8 before then. I think the next week or two we're going to see price action pretty big on metamaterials, and that's what I'm betting on. Most of my calls are for October 15th, and I've got some for January 22nd or something, somewhere out there. But I went for October just because I thought the economy might, if the economy tanks, it's going to tank before October. So I just bought more in the October range. But some of the 917 ones were so cheap that I bought a few of those as lottery tickets. Okay, we got. Oh, I missed a couple super chats here while I was chit chatting. Okay. I missed Jebin. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Jebin. And there's Deck Peas. Okay, so I'm caught up. Sorry, the little super chats, the ones that are like less than $5, they never appear at the top of my chat thing, so I never see them pop up. So I've got to scroll through and find them before I can thank somebody or read their question. Okay. Did Spurt go back up today? I didn't actually check. They had dropped a lot after Friday's big spike at the end of last week. Let's see here. I was going to look up Spurt. See. Spurt. Kind of traded sideways today. So its big day was on the 27th. It hit 53. Okay. It dropped to what? 26? All right, back up to the 30s. All right, so it looks like it's holding steady right now. Okay. Yeah, Shelby Krober says, first call I make is to an accountant. Yes. Second, tax lawyer. Third, estate lawyer. Yeah, if you're dealing with tens of millions of dollars as a result of the MOAS, you are going to want to line up accountant, tax lawyer, estate planner, and, probably a financial planner wouldn't be that bad, or a money manager. I mean, you can't just dump everything into probably Vanguard and just sit on that for the rest of your life, and it'll make 8% year over year, and you'll be totally happy. Or you can have some guy who does that for you. But a lot of rich people I know, and where I live, I'm surrounded by quite a few of them. They have money managers, and their money manager's job is to make sure they don't go poor. And if they go poor, they'll probably have the money manager disappeared. So, the money manager's job is to make sure that stuff goes well. And they just go out and they enjoy their lives, and somebody else deals with the money, and they just spend. The money manager says, okay, you are making $40,000 a day in interest of your investments, so you can spend $40,000 a day and never touch your principal. And there's people go out and they just won't spend more than $40,000 a day, which means, they might have to wait 2 days before booking a private flight somewhere, chartering a jet. So you got to wait 2 days to charter a jet to go to the Bahamas. But, as long as you aren't chartering a jet every single day, you never touch your principal. Okay. Catface546, during MOAS, what's the odds of institutional investors holding GME sell to deflate MOAS? I wouldn't doubt if the institutional investors dump their shares way too early. But even then, that's only 10% of probably the total shares that are claimed ownership, because there's just so many synthetics. So that takes care of, part of the buyback that has to be done. And those institutions will make a fortune, and their investors will be happy. But it will be retail investors that truly make the killing overall on GME. And those institutions, a lot of what they own are synthetics also. They can't sell them. The type of synthetics they have, they cannot sell until they get their physical share returned. So they might be stuck sitting there for a while until the physical shares start to show up in their accounts, and they can start selling that stuff. So they might not be able to dump right away to deflate the MOAS. They may be stuck waiting until they get the physical shares in there. Oh, Monkey Butt's having dreams here, making little noises. Frank Castle, how do we find out how many people actually own shares of GME, like a number of people that hold? The best guess we have right now are estimations. Get It Got did a survey that found that Americans alone have at least 167 million shares, and they did a control survey of Apple and discovered that it might be 2 to 4 times more than that. based on the control study. So that means Americans might have, 300 to 600 million shares of GME. And surveys done in Germany, so the Germans owned at least 70 million, which is the entire share count that GME has out there. And so there's several countries that have more than the total number of shares available for GameStop, and which might put the total number of claimed shares out there at, in the billions. And if that's the case, then these hedge funds are responsible for like 10, 20, 30 times the float, and they've got to buy that stuff back in order to close out their positions, and they don't have that money. That's why they haven't closed anything, because there's so many shares out there that they generated that there's not enough cash on earth to buy back those shares, which is why Treasury and the Federal Reserve are probably going to get involved when the MOAS happens to figure out how to get money through the system and get everyone paid, because the hedge funds don't have it, that's for sure. I mean, the hedge funds sold this stock at like $3, and now it's worth $200, right? They don't have the cash on hand to deal with that. They cannot have 100x losses on their plays, because the money isn't there. Okay. Chad Clifford, hey, hello Houston. What do you think AMC GME cost Sundial could reach in the MOAS? Do you think GME will be off the charts? Yeah, I think GME will be off the charts. I think GME will be prices that a stock has never traded before in the past and may never trade for again. I think people that have 100 or more shares of AMC or COS or Sundial or BlackBerry, I think they'll make a pretty penny during the MOAS, because all those companies are shorted too. When the liquidation happens, they're going to have to buy back everything that was shorted with those margin accounts, and those margin accounts those books are going to have to be balanced, and it's going to take a long time to balance all those books for all those companies. It'll take weeks to do that, and so much money is going to have to get printed to deal with that. I think we're going to see weird things pop off, and we're going to see OTC stocks you never heard of explode in price as well. If you have a healthy OTC company, like you have an actual business that makes money and whatever, I think some of those folks may wake up during MOAS and look at their accounts and go, "Whoa, I'm $1 trillion company today? What the heck's going on?" Dr. Stonk, will you support me and get my PhD in Ryan Cohen tweet theory? Yes, I love seeing everyone's takes on Ryan Cohen tweets. I look at his tweets and I'm like, it makes no sense to me. This is goofy and weird. And then somebody else is like, well, if you look back in the 1960s at this date, when I Want to Hold Your Hand was number 1 on the Billboard charts. I'm like, what? How? Who? Yeah, that's. I love seeing everyone's like little theories and takes on that, and then they dig deep and look for like little pictures in the background. That is not my skill. I am not good at that at all. I remember I took a flight. I was flying. I was on Air Canada flying from London to Vancouver, British Columbia. So it's like, I don't know, an 11-hour flight or something. And on little screens in the back of the screen, they had a word jumble. It like you get a word, you had to make as many words out of that word as you could, and I sucked at that. And then they had a trivia quiz show, and I dominated. Out of the 350 people on that plane, I had like the top 20 slots on the quiz game, and then they had a like a find it thing, like they show a picture of a messy garage. Okay, can you find the bucket? Can you find the kitten? And I was like, I can't find any of these things. And this little old man who was next to me, and he's a math professor at London College. It turned out, little Sikh man, and he was like, well, there's the bucket, there's the kitten. Oh, you missed. There's the spatula. Oh, there's the hubcap. I'm like, God damn it! Why can't I see any of these things? So the Ryan Cohen tweets are always just whew, over me. My skill is reading a book and remembering what was in that book. That's where my skills lie. It is not in like those like find the difference pictures. I suck at those too. I can never find the differences on stuff. So I leave the sleuthing up to other folks on those things. Heck, even when it comes to finding minerals, oftentimes I need a complete neophyte to come with me. I explain them like this is what we're looking for, and then they start finding it everywhere, and I can't find any of them. So, that's I need other eyes for that stuff all the time. Jordan, super chats. Hi Houston, I hear a lot of GME love. Can I have an AMC pep talk? Well, I mean, AMC's gonna squeeze, man. It's went up to $45 today. Are we still rocking that? Checking out gotta go back and look at the doohickeys here. There we are. 43. So it's at 43 right now. We hit a high of 45 and change. I mean, you just look at the chart for the last, 10 days is pretty remarkable. Yeah, so we're holding strong. AMC's gonna do just fine. We're just waiting for the margin calls, and we're waiting for the economy to trip and fall on its face. And then everybody becomes millionaires, and then this whole chat just becomes nothing but charity shows, and we get all of our tax write-offs by donating to charities through YouTube, right? That's going to be the future of this show. It's going to be tax write-offs via donations on Houston We Have a Problem YouTube live streams. Okay. Hi Houston. Aside from Mihal Puppy, Mihalapi. Yeah, sure. Hi Houston. Aside from the potential special dividend play for Sears, is the short squeeze also at play too? If so, how would the retail investor sell if selling would not be allowed? Thanks. Sears did have a pop with a lot of other OTC stocks the week after the baby squeeze in January. So like that first week of February, a whole bunch of OTC stocks went boing. But I have no idea what turning off trading means for Sears as a result of a short squeeze play and how those shares would be rectified. Now, the notice I got from Schwab said that I will be able to sell to large institutions and not to retail investors once they turn off all the other buttons. But I think in October or something, the federal government just turns off trading in general. So that's just stuff that's just going to sit in your account and just sit there, kind of like those preferred shares for Torchlight. You won't be able to trade them; they just sit there until they get replaced with money. So maybe they got some sort of mechanism to deal with that. I have no idea. I don't know if the bankruptcy court even takes that into account, that there might be tons of naked shares out there. So, yeah. So, it's all entertainment expense. All my 3,000 Sears shares are just entertainment expense at this point. Norito Vito. Hi, mate. Did you see the street musician Dovi Das? Do you like it? He's on YouTube. I have never heard of him, but I will try to give it a check if I can. Okay. Justin Smith says he lives in Connecticut and got wildfire smoke. Damn. Well, smoke will just travel with the winds. The only way smoke gets brought down is if the dew point reaches, the smoke level is at a point in the atmosphere where the dew point has reached, and then you can get condensation around the smoke droplets, and those get brought back down to earth in raindrops. You can't have raindrops without particulates in the atmosphere, so if you manage to like filter the entire atmosphere, clouds wouldn't form. Clouds need particles to condense around. And historically, those particles were always like CO2 atoms or bits of dust and whatnot. In this case, you can get the particle matter can be carbon from these fires and CO2 from the fires as well. Frank Castle, do you plan on making any physical investments after the squeeze, like good silver watches, etc.? My weakness is awesome cars from the 80s and 90s. So I'm sure I'll have quite the Craigslist collection of shitty vehicles in my driveway that will be constantly broken, and I'll be constantly drooling over. Do you see that Ford Taurus SHO? Oh, yum 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 yum. So yeah, that's my physical weakness. I don't really care about watches. I sometimes wear a watch, but I keep forgetting to put them on. I don't know. There's every once in a while I see a piece of art I think is awesome. I might invest in that, but my entire house is full of Goodwill art that I got for pennies. And like in my hallway, if I can show you guys what I'm staring at, I have this Goodwill piece of art. Ugh, my messy desk. This lovely lady stares at me all the time from my hallway, and whole screen is. All right, we're back to normal. There we go. I got her for like $1. Why not? I've got the goofiest art in my house as a result. Dr. Stonk, what is this quiet period being talked about with metamaterial, and when does it end? I hear people discussing partnerships will be revealed. P.S. Birds suck. Yeah, I mean, metamaterials technologies, like they're nanotechnologies, they're metamaterial sciences. They can deal with these really, really small particles, and they have like some of the only machines in the world that can do this stuff. And so if companies want to have certain things printed that are really small and like, we're talking transistor size onto surfaces, they have to use metamaterial to do it. Or they have to like license the technology from metamaterial and probably get the machines built by metamaterial and their factories built to do that stuff. So like the coating on the flexible screens for those like foldable Samsung phones, those apparently all have metamaterial technology in them. And so Samsung is either having metamaterial print that tech for them or is licensing it from them to do it, which means metamaterial is getting, a chunk of change off every one of those phones that's sold. So I think there's a lot of business relationships that metamaterial have. Prior to their going public, Sony wanted to buy them for like $1 billion. This is, 2019, early 2020. And metamaterial was hemming and hawing, and they thought they're going to have a really successful IPO. And then, with their laser blocking classes, and then the COVID hit and everything shut down and people stopped traveling, and all of a sudden, whoo, their IPO was a big giant bust. But now, people are realizing, oh, this tech goes beyond this stuff. I mean, they created a material that can launch an object into space with a laser. There's really light foil, make microsatellites, and then keeping that laser focused on it, they can send it out of the solar system. That's pretty awesome. It's like using solar winds to do some badass stuff, but just using a laser and earth to power these things. They got all sorts of weird tech that they're always working on, and they're basically a research and development company. They are probably going to be a patent troll at some point. They'll have patents on all sorts of stuff, and when anyone else tries to use that tech and doesn't pay them for it, they'll just sue and make a whole bunch of money. What's that company? It's in like Redmond that has, I don't know, a bajillion patents, and that's all they do is they just patent troll and sue people, and they make tons of money, and they've got a research and development lab that spends all their time inventing things, and they're like, hey, you've got this invention, you can license it from us, and if you don't license it from us, we'll just sue you and make a bunch of money that way. So it's basically a legal team and a bunch of crazy mad scientists. What's International Inventors? Patent Troll Company, Washington State. Landmark Technologies, that I'm thinking of? No, it has more like a I can't remember their name, but they do have some crazy technologies. They do license a lot of it, but for years their entire tech was based solely on we invented this thing, we filed the patents for it, and we're waiting for somebody else to actually build it, and then we'll sue them for building it. JP's Massage Therapy Center. Hey Houston, can you please share what specific investments you would do with your MOAS money ticker and percent of your investments. Oh man, I probably would just dump a lot of it into index funds and mutual funds and just forget about it. I will probably take a whole bunch and just buy blue chips. Buy Amazon's, Microsoft, Apple, General Electric, Ford, GM, whatever, and just buy a bunch of those. And those companies, they've been around for a long time. They make money year over year. They pay out dividends, and just forget about it. And then there'll be, I'll search for what dividend stocks are doing well, that they pay 3 or 4% a year in just dividend alone, and do that. I want to get to the point where I never have to think about the market again. Like, it won't matter. I don't have to think about it. It's just going to do its thing. I can do what makes me happy and travel and smash rocks and go to beaches and go sailing and go skiing and live a happy life of luxury, and focus on charities and helping friends and family when they need help, and lifting everyone I know and love around me up with me and taking them with me. That's kind of what I want to focus on. And so I will definitely be investing in securities that allow me to not have to think about them, that somebody else is doing all that work for me, and I now can turn my brain off and enjoy the things I want to enjoy. I can sit and just read a book all day and be happy doing that. So, yeah, just blue chips, dividend stocks, index funds, mutual funds. Those are the things I'll probably be investing in. Here's something that I was talking about with one of my roommates the other day that just popped in my brain, and he was, he said he was trying to rectify, GameStop going to ridiculous heights. He's like, why would this stock go to these crazy heights? And then he was reminding himself, that this is all built upon not fundamentals of the company, but built upon this special short squeeze that's happening. And then he's like, wait a minute. Bitcoin is nothing. It's really just some ones and zeros inside of people's computers. And it went from worth nothing to trading for $60,000 for a coin. And they don't produce anything. They don't make stuff. They don't have dividends. They don't earn interest. There's nothing about Bitcoin that produces anything. And yet we don't question the fact that it's trading for $60,000 or $50,000, whatever, it's $47,000 a day, but it hit $60,000 in like April. That it's trading for these ridiculous prices, and we don't question it at all. And there's only, there'll only be 150 million Bitcoin in existence ever. Now, there's only 73 million GME in existence ever. So why is it so hard to think that GME couldn't be worth a ridiculous amount of money at some point, right? If Bitcoin, which produces nothing, can be worth $50,000 to $60,000 for a coin, why can't a company that makes money year over year, has no debt, is short squeezed, and there's even fewer of them available, fewer shares available in reality than there are Bitcoin? Why can't the price on that just be absolutely stupid? And I was like, that's an excellent way of looking at it. My brain had not thought about that argument. So it's we are in a peculiar situation where we have a limited commodity. There's only 73 million shares of GME in existence, and there are no more than that. And yet we are pretending like there's billions of them out there, and that's why the price right now is reflecting that there's actually this many, but there's this many being traded. And if you take the value of all these being traded and you divide it by the 70 million that are out there, the price of these shares are worth thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. And that's even before the squeeze happens. So there's every reason to believe that the price on this stock will be absolutely ridiculous when the time comes. And so, yeah, that popped into my head. I was going to try and bring that up, and then I didn't remember until just now. I think I missed a couple of super chats here. Let me get through. I get talking, and then I miss them. And, okay, there's Jordan's. Int Helt Svensson. Thank you for the super chat there. There's Dr. Stonks. Easy E. Hey, Houston picked up some metamaterial last Thursday. Some of their tech looks dope. Where do you think we will see their tech first? I think we're seeing it right now in like cell phone screens. They had someone had mentioned a thing the other day that they were doing. They also have like No Labs. They have a device that will presumably be able to like look at your blood glucose level at all times. So you wear it like a little watch, and it hooks up to Bluetooth or whatever, kind of like one of those Fitbits, and it will give you your glucose blood levels at all times. Now the market for these things are crazy. So No Labs has a bunch of patents. I invested in them. That's a friend of mine's company, and they are very close, I think, to FDA approval on theirs. And if they get FDA approval on theirs, they go from nothing to like $100 billion company, because people don't want to prick their fingers all the time, right? They don't want to prick their fingers a couple times a day, and it costs $1 per prick, and it's just a fortune. And if you can wear this little bracelet that gives you real-time data as to your blood glucose levels, then it can tell you when you're crashing, when you need an injection, or you need a cookie or whatever. And there's 30 million diabetics in the United States alone. 30 million diabetics whose insurance company will pay for the $200 little bracelet thing and the $99 a month subscription fee. So I mean, just let's go to the calculator, shall we? Let's go to the calculator. Calculator. Whoops, I turn off the Chrome. Oops, I didn't turn off. There we go. All right, there's the calculator. There we go. Okay, so we've got just the United States. We've got 30 million diabetics, right? And their insurance companies will be paying for all of this. So 30 million of them will get $199 wrist bracelet. Okay, there's $5.9 billion. Cool. That's $5.9 billion right off the bat for all this stuff. All right. We got 30 million. Too many zeros. 30 million that are paying $99 a month, right? For 12 months a year. That is $35 billion a year to a company that will essentially just, have some software updates every once in a while. Once you get this thing manufactured and engineered, you'll probably have some factory in China making it for you. And then you only need to have a few dozen employees making sure the software is up to date. And that's it. And you're making $35 to $36 billion a year just off the U.S. market alone. This doesn't count the diabetics around the world and the other countries that will follow suit. So Vigilant and, they used to be called Vigilant. They're called No Labs now. No Labs and Metamaterial both working on similar technology in this realm. Let's say they split the market, right? Okay, both of them are making between $15 and $20 billion a year off of subscription fees for these blood glucose meters. That's a ridiculous amount of money. There's plenty market share there to go around. And then you'll have other companies that'll be licensing this tech from them, trying to do their own tech, and then there'll be like lawsuits between the companies, and then deals will be made. But billions upon billions a year will be spent on this stuff because Americans are fat and diabetic, and that's what we are. We've got 100 million pre-diabetics, and that probably should start considering looking at such things. So there's tech out there that they're working on, others are working on, that I think are going to be a big deal. Into Svetsson, another excellent super chat. Thank you. Okay, and there's JP Massage Therapies. All right, I think I'm caught up on my super chats. I don't think I missed. Did I miss anyone? I don't think so. I had a gentleman who tweeted me saying I missed 5 of his super chats last week, and I feel terrible. I try to scroll through these things and get them, but I'm not seeing any super chats I've missed so far. So I think we are caught up. Okay. All right. Back to the regular chat and see what I can pull out here that are interesting questions to answer. Anna Rulnick, did you watch Lou's video yesterday? Very right-wing extreme and potential socialist insurrection in U.S. Cities, and he'll be bunkering in Montana. Many comments agreed with him. It was surreal. Yeah, Lou is... I don't want to speak ill of other YouTubers, but Lou gives me the willies, man. He's really racist, and I don't know, man. He just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I think he's paranoid and weird, and yeah, I don't watch Lou because he's just bonkers, and I've seen too many videos where he does really racist things, and I'm just not down with that. Don't be racist. That to me is like a litmus test for everything. If you're holding racist ideals, then I'm just not going to listen to anything else you have to say, or take any of it legitimately. So that's my beef with Lou. I don't really know the dude, but from what I've seen of him, he just gives me the creeps. How many GME shares am I holding? Less than 1,000. I'm not one of the big holders at all. No, I invested a couple of grand. I've got my dozens, and I am hoping those pay off for me. A goat curry emoji. I don't know how to make a goat curry emoji, Chakuseki. How does one make an emoji? I have no idea. But if I had the skill, I would love to make a goat curry emoji. Alan S says, I will. Fuck you, he's full of it. Well, there you go. Alan does not like Lou in the least. Resident Flea, I spoke to Schwab today about Sears. They say they have to find someone to buy them, or if they issue a dividend, Schwab gives you that. I was talking with somebody. So Schwab apparently turned off the ability to buy Sears a little early off the apps, and you've got to actually physically call them and say you want to place an order if you want Schwab to buy Sears now. So Fidelity turned it off months ago. I had bought my shares through Schwab, and apparently you can't buy any more through Schwab. And as of the 3rd, I think the buy button gets turned off for everyone. And as of the 27th, I think that the sell button gets turned off for everyone. So I think we're just going to sit and wait for if there's a special dividend. And that's the bet I'm making. And if there's no special dividend, then I lose the hundreds of dollars I spent on my thousands of Sears stocks, and them's the breaks. Cough burp. How does the U.S. recover from quadrillion hedge fund losses? That's an interesting question. I think most of the cash that will be used to pay us in MOAS will be in the form of long-term bonds. So we're talking like 30 or 50 years to pay off this stuff. And that's what they're going to do. And, with a lot of these bonds, they may just get completely forgotten about. The work by, what was it? What's his name? Oh my goodness. If I can remember anything in my entire life, it's not names. All right, gotta go to Discord. I gotta click on, okay. Always Sad But Truthful did a bunch of stuff on this, and Boss Blunts did as well, where they found, trillions upon trillions of dollars in forgotten mortgage-backed securities. They've just been like set adrift as if no one's ever going to pay attention to them. And these mortgage-backed securities are maturing, this year and through the next several years from Bear Stearns, from Washington Mutual, from Wachovia, from a whole bunch of dead and gone companies. And those securities still exist, and they still are people's homes and mortgages and stuff in them. So those toxic assets are still out there, and we just kind of forgot about them. And I wouldn't doubt if a whole bunch of these huge bonds that are generated to help pay for MOAS also get somewhat forgotten about. I see what you're trying to do, monkey. If you start chewing that bone, there's going to be some problems. No chewing on the bone. It's too loud. Yeah. Come on, get your butt up here. Come on. Get up here. Come on. Be up here and be bored. No chewing on the bone. I'm sorry. I had taken all of her bones out of the office so she wouldn't chew on them while doing a show. And this weekend, she found them all throughout the house and brought them all back into the office. She's just staring at it. Oh. We're going to go in the corner and stare at your other bones. Okay. That's okay. We can do that. Okay. Gorilla Glue, does anyone know if the cat dark pool monitoring system hit the Fed registry today, or is it delayed again? I thought it was the first is supposed to hit on Wednesday. Is that not right? Or maybe it's Friday. Yeah, and a Rulnik. I will invest in more Hawaiian shirts. That's true. I will have the greatest collection of all time. I read an article about a guy who donated his Hawaiian shirt collection to the University of Tennessee, and it was worth like $1 million. And so the library at the University of Tennessee has like an entire museum built just for this guy's Hawaiian shirt collection. I want to be that guy. Some college somewhere is going to get my Hawaiian shirt collection, and they're going to build a museum for it. And everyone's going to be like, this is the weirdest art installation I've ever seen. William Morgan says cat starts September 3rd or 6th. Okay. E-Trade. John Castro says he's able to buy Sears on E-Trade. Okay, so someone still has it available for the buying. Intel Svensson. Obviously, I'm too freaking stupid to send a super chat with a message. Okay, buddy, I'll look for a question. Just type your question in the chat, and I will scroll and try and find it here, because he sent a couple of them without any questions attached. So, yeah. Sorry. Obviously, you're on my level at this point when it comes to bumbling around the technology. Okay. Hi, Bunky. Yeah, payment for order flow might get banned. Fingers crossed. It will change how we trade. Like we may have to go back to doing those nominal commissions where it's like, $2 a trade or something. I don't think we'll ever go back to the 2 to 3% per trade stuff like the old days. That made it absolutely prohibitive, because anytime you want to sell stock at profit, you would spend it all on commission to some broker, and a broker did not care if you gained or lost. They would make money either way. Don't you chew that bone. I see you thinking about it. Okay. Just Bodies. Where can I read up more on the Sears situation? Wall Street Bets using it as a code for Roblox is messing with SEO. Look up Get It Got. User Get It Got. He's the one that has the best stuff I've seen, and he seems to connect a lot of the dots with Sears. So check him out. Just go to his profile, and I'll type it in the chat here. Get It Got. Yeah, check him out, and he's got the stuff that makes the most sense to me. And he does really, really, really in-depth stuff on other stocks as well. Hori says CS Trader talked about buying the dips right away while the crash is happening. I thought it takes weeks and months to make a good deal. What are your thoughts for buying dips? Reinvest. Well, if you look at, okay, let's bring up yield chart here. Got to go back to scene. Turn on Chrome. We'll just do. Come on, give me a good old. I can't spell. Dow Jones. Okay, let's go to 5 years. Come on, show me. There we go. So the big dip we had March of last year, right? It started February 21st, and the dip bottomed out on March 20th. So it took about a month for the dip to really hit hard on those blue chip stocks. And so that dip itself was a month-long process. So it might, from when the bad news comes out to when we see the bottom, when the federal government starts to do something about that bad news, it might be a month. So if, let's say, by September 9th, we get all sorts of bad news coming out about the debt ceiling and COVID and evictions, people will start selling off and selling off and selling off, selling off. So that means the bottom of that would probably be sometime in October. And that might be the time to reinvest and buy up those blue chips and stuff. And that all depends on if the government acts, right? If the government doesn't do anything about it for a long time, the dip might keep going. The whole reason this dip stopped was because the government printed like $9 trillion and just flooded the economy with that money. And that's what climbed the U.S. economy out of that huge hole that happened as a result of COVID. And in the end, they printed like $16 trillion over 2020 to keep the economy from crashing. And a lot of that money went to banks. A lot of that money went to financial institutions. A lot of that money went to local governments. A lot of that money went to you and me. Well, maybe not me because they didn't send me my stupid checks. I still haven't got my tax refund. It's been, when I filed my taxes, February. I've got no tax refund so far. They owe me like $2,000. Where's my money? Of course, they don't have the money to give it to me because they got to use it to keep the government afloat during the debt crisis we're in right now. But the stimulus checks, billions and billions and trillions of dollars went out in that stuff. And we've got $50 billion went to local governments to try and help pay for people's back rent. And if you are one of the folks that owes back rent, go to your local county or state government. They'll have an office. They'll help and file for the paperwork to get your rent paid for. I know lots of people that are not getting kicked out of their homes because they filed for these programs. And there's a lot of money in all these counties to keep that stuff going. So look into that and get the help you need with those programs. Because, if you have an eviction on your record, it can be really hard to get a place to live again. So, 40 million people, 8 million homes may be facing foreclosure or an eviction in the coming month. That is an astronomical number. 2.5 million foreclosures crashed the entire global economy 13 years ago. And now we might be looking at more than that this time around, just due to the moratorium being lifted. So, we've got the comeuppance is coming. So we got to look at that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna look for Svensson here. Svensson, did you chime in again, Svensson? I'm trying to look for one of your chats. Svensson. I don't see in here, bud. I'm looking for your chats. Everton, Gloria, Legacy, Manifest. Resident Flea. All right, Svensson. If you have a question, pop it in there, and I'll try to answer it if I can. Let's see. I do think Cough Burp's such a great name. Okay, Nick, super chats. Hey, Houston, with reverse repos not being allowed to be used as collateral anymore starting September 1st, what do you think will happen with the short hedge funds? Oh, man. September 1st is, I pick the worst day to hop on an airplane. I know I'm gonna land in Hawaii and be like, what happened during the day? So I fly out at like 11, so maybe I'll have some info as to what's going on in the world before I hop on that plane. But yeah, so they're tapering the buying of treasuries. I'm not sure if they're tapering the selling of them, like what's in the reverse repo market, but they are going to, I think, be stricter as to what qualifies in the repo market as collateral. And the thing is, the repo market is so messed up in general. So these hedge funds, if they need quick cash, they'll package their assets, lend them, or not lend them, they'll give them as collateral to a bank to get cash from them and do their play, and then they make their money off of it, give the cash back to the bank, and take those securities back. Well, the banks want treasury bonds. They don't want other stuff. Things other than treasury bonds, they consider toxic sludge, and they don't really want it, but they'll deal with it if they have to. Now, basically what they're saying is they will no longer accept the toxic sludge to be traded this way. And that toxic sludge is what most of these hedge funds have to trade. And so there's going to be a lot less cash being able to bounce back and forth between the banks and the hedge funds as a result. And if the treasury bonds take a hit, no one's going to want that stuff because all of a sudden the treasury bonds will be toxic sludge. So I don't know what they're going to be using as collateral to make those trades in the repo and reverse repo markets. So it's a really good question as to what happens after September 1st, especially when you have the CAT system going in place. You've got the toxic sludge not being allowed to be used. You've got MOAS, debt ceiling, inflation, all the other things tied in there. COVID. September is going to be a really interesting month. Oh, and the other thing that they were doing with those repos, they would bundle up their toxic sludge, give it to the bank as collateral on a loan, and then they would report to the government in the 13Fs that they sold that many stocks, while also recording those stocks as assets at the same time. When in fact it was used as collateral on a loan, it wasn't sold. It may get abandoned, but that's not selling that stock. That's having a giant liability and defaulting on a loan. So they did all sorts of sketchy things with that stuff. I think the short hedge funds are losing a whole bunch of windows that they had as loopholes, and they are getting away. They're not going to get away with it much longer. Okay. Brian Romero, seen him lose days vids since day one. He's no racist. I don't trust him, but he's been ahead of info and knows inside of NP. He knows the inside, but he had info that falls with you and Marcel. I mean, I've seen some of his videos that are pretty sketchy. I mean, there's videos where he like yells at Asian people and blames them for COVID and stuff. Like, it's not that stuff doesn't sit cool. It doesn't sit with me. Ooh, I got a coordinate here. Let's pop it in. Come on, let's work. There we go. Okay, Google Earth. This one takes me 5 minutes to do, and it ends up being a retention pond. I'm going to be so upset. Okay. What you got for me? Where are we going? Search. Go, 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 go. All right, we're flying around the world. We are in North America. We're in Northern Canada. We are in an island. We're in an island. Oh, this is the island and an island and an island and an island. Yes, I know this place. So, here we have. Check it out. Check it out. We have a continent, which a continent is essentially technically an island, right? It's surrounded by water. We zoom in. We have a lake. And on that lake is an island. And we zoom into the island. And on that island is another lake with an island. And we zoom in on that island, and we have a lake on that island. It's a lake upon a lake, upon a lake, upon an ocean. Pretty awesome. Right? I've heard about this place. Yeah, what is it called? Yathkeed Lake. Hope I'm saying that right. I guess it's a First Nations term that I'm probably butchering right now. So there you go. A lake upon a lake upon a lake. An island upon an island upon an island. Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen Ray. Excellent. There's another little lake on an island there. There's a whole bunch of lakes and islands in this thing. Rad. So cool. Good job. That's an excellent geolocation for us to go to. Thank you for that one. Okay. Robot Johnson, what are some good reasons MOAS will happen during the September run-up? The good reasons are all bad reasons because they usually mean economic trouble for lots of people. Okay, try to list them all. We've got debt ceiling crisis. We've got an inflation crisis. We've got a supply chain crisis. We've got a COVID crisis. We have a foreclosure and eviction crisis. We've got a corporate debt bubble crisis. What else do we have? We have a credit crunch with some of the banks. We have what else? I know there's more in there. That's 7. That's 7 reasons that any one of those things can crash the entire economy. Well, we've got a commercial real estate crisis. That's 8. Are there others? If you guys think of more, let's Put them in the chat. List them out. So we got 8 so far, and any one of those things can probably crash the entire economy. So, and all of them are just on the press, on like the teetering on the edge right now. So that's 8's pretty good. If there's more, let me know. Chris Taylor super chats. Thanks for all you do and that you share. I've learned so much. Keep it up, man. Oh, thank you, Chris. Thank you. Did I get all super chats? And I'm still looking for Svensson to pop in here and give me a question. I'll keep scrolling for Svensson. Svensson! There he is. There you go. He writes, do you have any plans for your channel after the MOAS is over? The internet kind of needs more down-to-earth Svenssons who doesn't sell their souls for money at first chance. Yeah, I don't think I would do a regular show like 3 times a week, but I might do once a week after MOAS, and then it would be a purely for charity. Like my plan is post MOAS, I won't need the money, so why would I be doing shows for super chats and ad revenue when I can just do a charity show every week or so, and hopefully do it from a different location in the world every week? Why not? Yeah. That's the plans for the YouTube show. And I probably will perhaps do some higher budget things and pay some people who actually know how to use cameras and stuff, and we'll do some science stuff. We'll go out in the world and we'll talk about geology and earth science and visit cool locations and teach you how to find stuff. And I'd like to make the channel more of that, less me sitting in an office. So I can do some like recorded shows with experts who can actually make things look nice and edit them. And yeah, I'll probably self-fund my own science channel. That's probably what I'll do. I'll fund a science channel and teach out in the field, make cool videos for people until finally Netflix or someone wants to pay for it themselves. But yes, there, got you in there, Svensson. Thank you. Like you said right here, the best aspect of your channel is when you go off the subject. Yeah, I love it. I love getting taken off in tangents. My students love it too. When I taught math classes at the Art Institute, they were 4 hours long. A 4-hour-long math class. The human brain cannot learn 4 hours worth of math. They can't. They got 45 minutes and then their brain's full for the day, and they have to like sit for a few days before they can learn more. So the key to those classes was getting them to get me on tangents. And so those 4-hour-long math classes were basically 3 hours of me talking about things that were not math related in any way, shape, or form. And then we'd always come back to the math lesson and get that through. So that works. It's the style that works for me. So that's what I'm doing here. Easy E. Every kind of crisis except a midlife crisis. Oh, believe me, I bet there's a lot of MOAS people who'll be buying their Corvettes and having midlife crises when this thing's through. Just mark my words. Yeah. There we go. All right. All right. Do we have other crises people are able to list in there? Oh goodness, I got another one here. 45 degrees north, 59 degrees east. Oh, so we're looking at somewhere. Where's that? Central Asia? Let's look here. Oops, got to bring in the Google Earth, pop it in here, paste it, send it. We are in Central Asia. We are in a body of water. We are in, where are we? Aral Sea? Caspian Sea? Where am I? I couldn't barely pay attention. We're Aral Sea. Okay. I don't know what I'm looking at. But it is a big giant lake on a continent. What are you doing, man? Where are you taking me, Josh Walker? Where are you taking me? Am I in a sandbar on a lake? Where am I? What is this place? What's so special about it? Aral Sea is drying up. This used to be water here. Just, not too long ago. I mean, this city here was on the edge of the lake, and the lake is all dried up because the rivers that drained into the Aral Sea have all been essentially taken for agriculture. So all the rivers that drain in here go to agriculture. But the Caspian Sea has risen. So there you go. They're right next to each other. This one's been drained. That one's risen. Crazy. But Josh Walker, if you want to tell me what the heck I'm looking at, what I should be looking for, let me know. Okay, what time we got? 2:30. Oh shit, I got 15 minutes and I got to bail. All right, I got stuff to do. I have to do laundry too. Oh, I've got so much laundry to do before I leave. Tonight's laundry night. Okay. Dumb Enger, which 80s 90s TV show car would you win in a demolition derby? Kit from Knight Rider or Viper from the Viper TV series? Oh baby, I'm going with Nash Bridges' 71 Cuda convertible. That's my dream car. Mwah, I would love to have it. It was up for auction on eBay a couple years ago and sold for $5 million. There was only 14 Hemi Cuda convertibles built in 71, and they actually used one of them for the show. They had other ones that were like 340s and 440s that they had made to look like the original. A couple of kit cars too, I think. But they did have one original they used for that show. I think they bought it for like $400,000 for the show, and then the company that was the provider of it just sold it for $5 million a couple of years ago. That's my dream car. 71 Cuda convertible. Oh, I love me a Cuda. Oh, yes. Although I don't think I'd demolition it. Maybe a demolition the A-Team van. How about that? That one would survive a demolition derby. But I think Kit from Knight Rider is probably safer than Viper from the Viper TV series. The Viper itself was a horribly dangerous car. Didn't have airbag or anything, and was just chintzy and plasticky. Resident Flea, Houston, have you ever bumped into someone who was wearing the same shirt as you? No, but I see it all the time. I will be on the street and I'll be like, I own that shirt as I see it walk by. No, a sweater. I have this like green sweater with like cream and red, like kind of, I don't know, crimson stripes on it. It's kind of Christmassy colors. And I was at a party at holiday time and I wore that sweater and a guy showed up in the exact same, like, is from Eddie Bauer or something, like the exact same sweater. I had that happen to me. Have I had someone else wearing the exact same shirt at the same time? I don't think so. I think it's always been like, I don't know, I'll just see someone, I mean, almost once a day I see somebody, if I go out in public, I'm like, I have that shirt. But the thing that gets me is when I see a really awesome shirt I don't own, and I'm like, I want to mug that guy for his shirt. Those are things I have to like tell my lizard brain that is not your shirt. He doesn't get to belong to you. Jeffrey Schaefer, Houston, have you heard of the crypto coin Picoin? Yeah, I mine Picoin on my phone every day. I'm at, how many Picoins do I have right now? How do I get to my Picoins? My Picoins, I've got 1,013 Picoins so far. How do I do, oh, I know, I can go to here, Pi, search, whoops, no, that took me to Paint. I don't want to go to Paint. I want to go to the Pi doohickey. Where are you? Groove Music, OneDrive, Paint. It pops up on my stupid start every single day when I open this computer. And where are you? I don't know how to get the stupid the Pi browser to open on my computer. It pops up every time I open my damned computer, but it's not doing it this time. I don't know where it is. I would post the link in the chat for Picoin, but I can't find it on here. So yeah, I do have Picoin. I don't know when it will ever actually be traded. They always have like, oh, we're practicing trading it, but other people seem to trade their coins just fine without doing that. Okay. All right, Josh Walker. Oh, it used to be a big giant lake. Yes, it used to be a big giant lake. And now it's a much smaller lake. There'll probably be several lakes before you know it. Oh, we got another one. Tony M's giving me a go-to here. So we are in the Western Hemisphere with this one. Let's go to this. Do-do-do. Paste. Where are we going? Couldn't understand this location. Why couldn't you understand this location? So that would be north, and that would be south. Oh, maybe it's too many decimal points. Not liking this location. Let's take off a few decimal points there. Let's see if it likes that. Nope, it is not liking this. Why don't you like this? Maybe if I shave it down even more. Google Earth may not like this super exacting decimals here. 9. It does not like this. I'm sorry. It doesn't like this at all. Oops. Oh, wait. Nope. Sorry. Sorry, Tony M. It's not liking my decimal points on Google Earth here. It won't let me go there. I'm not going to spend the last 10 minutes trying to get that to work. Brian Romero. Ryan Lego GME chart indicates December MOAS, September bull run. Very possibly. Smarter folks than I are deciphering Ryan Cohen's tweets. I look at his tweets and I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on. But I'm pretty sure now Lego refers to Citadel, because Citadel's like, that got explained to me, and that makes sense to me now, so I go with that. Norito Vito, after MOAS, planning to go to Cyprus, and I invest there $2 million to get Cyprus passport and change my name to GME Gimeropulo. Yeah, I mean, I am certain a lot of you will be traveling around the world and getting weird passports. You can go to Aruba and for $100,000 become an Aruba citizen, and so that's what a lot of rich folks do. And they change their names. They buy citizenships to New Zealand. They do all sorts of stuff. I bet a lot of you will be doing things like that. Chris Taylor wants me to play the intro in the middle of my show. You'll get the intro here at the end. I already have one screw up today. I'm not going to have another one. I'm going to try and do my show as best I can. All right. Bill Coyne says, been really looking at emerging technologies across the board, and in the near and next to 5-10 years look incredibly positive and beyond. That could be why the Dow is up so much. Yeah, there's a ton of emerging technologies out there that will just blow people's minds away in the next couple of years. But a lot of that technology is dependent upon getting semiconductors built. We are investing with the soon-to-be passed infrastructure bill. The United States is going to invest $50 billion into a domestic semiconductor production plant. And the thing is that to build a semiconductor, one of the machines you needed to build a semiconductor is $1 billion. And it's a company, what was it, EMR? What are they called? Semiconductor building machine. They're based in like the Netherlands or something, I think. What are they called? Of course, yes, EESCMI, I think, are the ones that build the machines. That's what I'm thinking of. And their machines are like gigantic, and they take like 48 truckloads to put together, and so China has to build their own machines to do this stuff because there's like a sanctions list that won't allow them to send these things to China to build. So Europe is basically trying to get in the semiconductor market a lot stronger with these things, and they do all sorts of weird stuff where they shine lasers through water droplets to hyper focus them and have them change their wavelengths and stuff. And they I don't know how how the equipment works. Someone sent me a Twitter DM. Where is it? Messages. I gotta find the dude. He's always sending me tons of weird tech that I gotta look at if I'm thinking the right guy. ASML. That's who I'm thinking of. Okay. So he sent me a. Where are you going? Why aren't you? Oh, okay. It's Trung Phon, Canadian guy. Let me get the thing here, copy, and go to the chat. I'll paste it. This is the company. So look at that tweet, Twitter thread there, and it'll take you in this whole down rabbit hole about these giant machines that are used to make semiconductors that America and Europe have to invest in, and they like are sourced from 4,000 factories in the world, so they're really expensive and hard to make. Yeah. Chris Taylor, what is the issue with hydrogen engines? Why are they not more widely used? I bet you could build one for your truck. Well, I mean, to build hydrogen engines, you have to do hydrolysis. To do hydrolysis, you basically have to use a whole bunch of electricity inside water to separate the hydrogen from the oxygen atoms. And so you break apart the water molecules to do this. And the hydrogen builds up and you contain it inside the system, and that's what you use for hydrogen. So trying to get, you can take energy, you can put it into batteries, or you can take energy, you can put it into hydrogen, and then use that as a power source later. It just depends on which is more efficient, right? Is it easier to just transmit the electricity through the electrical lines, or is it easy to store hydrogen at a hydrogen gas station and fill up people's cars that way? That's the question. And hydrogen is super volatile, so the storage system has to be pretty decent. Because unlike gasoline just getting exposed to the air doesn't cause an explosion, but hydrogen being exposed to the air does cause an explosion. And I think that's some of the drawbacks. There is a system that they created a few years ago. It's this weird porous sponge-like metal object, and you inject it while the hydrogen kind of statically bonds to the walls, to all the surface area of this tank, and that was a way that they were storing it without having it like explode on them if they got into crash accidents. But yeah, that's the problem with hydrogen engines is separating the hydrogen from water and doing it safely and economically and moving things along that way. Okay, I got time for what? Another question or so here. Got one more question, then I got to bail for the day. I'm going to try and do a show tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. I just have to spend tomorrow doing laundry, and then I got to take Monkey Butt and drop her off with my friend. She's going to stay with my friend for a couple weeks, and got to do that stuff before I fly out. All right. Tyler English, can we do a bi-yearly camping trips for the channel? That works for me. Whoever wants to come join me in the desert and go smash rocks, I will take everybody along for that. The rules for going out in the desert with Houston is you have to have a 4-wheel drive, you have to be able to hike 5 miles, and you have to be able to carry 50 pounds when doing it. That's kind of the rule. Because there's lots of equipment that's got to go out there with us, and a lot of rocks have to come back. So there we go. All right. Where's one more question? One more question here. People are hashing about Ryan Cohen's tweet that I know nothing about. Robert Johnson says, I thought GameStop's NFT was supposed to be an instrument to spark MOAS. Is that still a thing? About Loop. I think it's still very possible, especially if the NFT is something that records the number of shares and reports back to the ledger how many shares are out there and how many shares there should be out there. That, I think, could definitely be a trigger for the MOAS there. Okay. We're at 2:45. I gotta get going. Okay, Chris Taylor, here you go. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Bye bye.